Well, hello, it's Vegaspaulyceeeeee, and I need to memorialize this. I don't know where I'm going to put this video, or if this video should even go out there, but my mind is blown, so I need to make a video about this. So Johan Lowy is the developer on the Badlands, and what happens in life is things get represented in the press, or people get represented in the press, or the city attorneys are represented in the press, or the city fathers are represented in the press, in a way that's like, some of it is true, but some of it is just insanity, and I need to get this, again, memorialized. And these are my opinions, but go back and read the articles. If you go back and you read the articles on Badlands and what went on over there, so let's just start at the beginning. 2015, the Piccoli family, who are big developers in Las Vegas, they have this land, and it's like a crappy golf course, and it's in a ravine. So you look at it and you say to yourself, well, if it rains, a lot of rain is going to come through here, which was the original standing of the city, is that 30 feet of water will come through this. But here's the thing. Here's the psychological manipulation. It almost reminds me of a movie. It's so bizarre what has gone on. Piccoli, this wealthy family in Las Vegas, has 250 acres right next to Queensridge. So yeah, it's a great neighborhood, obviously. But Piccoli family knows or thinks they know that it can't be developed. So even though it's 250 acres and it's probably at that time, I bet it was worth at least 100 million at that time. The press at that time said he only paid 3% of what it was worth. Could it have been worth 200 million in 2015? And, real estate was lower then. Bottom line is he buys it for 30,000 an acre, which is nothing. So he buys 250 acres, this Badlands golf course, for $7.5 million. And of course, he doesn't want a golf course. Of course, he knows it has tremendous land development potential. But the land has no entitlements, and the city has it in its master plan as open space. Because of the ravine, because of, listen, there's general anti-development sentiment in that area because it's a wealthy area, and the people in Queensridge don't want, 3,000 houses going in there. So the sentiment in the surrounding community for the Badlands is obviously anti-development. Piccoli family is rational, and they say to themselves, well, it's got no entitlements, and it's in a ravine, and so we'll just get what we can for it. Now, this is my opinion of why the Piccoli family sold it for $30,000 an acre. You'd have to talk to the Piccoli family. So they sell it for $30,000 an acre. Johan Lowy, who must be beyond brilliant, more or less induces the city to take an anti-development stance that makes the city look like criminal, really. And he induces insanity in the entire neighborhood for anti-development fervor. And he manipulates the entire thing so that he looks like a total victim. Now, the fact of the matter is that the Piccoli family sold it because it had no entitlements, and it theoretically, and this is where it gets a little shaky for me because I am not a lawyer, but lawyers would know the answer to this, it couldn't be developed. It was just a fait accompli. I'm so excited, I'm spitting. It was just a fait accompli that it could not be developed. So he induced, through almost like a litigation panic, the entire community to go. He induced everybody to go against him. He induced the legal process system to go against him. He induced all of the neighbors to go against him. There was one guy going around, a Marine, who was going around door to door to get people to sign a petition or whatever, an anti-development petition. He pulls over. This is what it says in the article. So don't shoot me. This is what it says. He pulls over and he tells the guy, I'm going to sue you. The guy's just going around I'm going to sue you for what you do. He sued the guy who was walking around trying to get people to sign a petition. He sued a judge. He sued the city council members. He sued the city land use board or the development authority or whoever the overriding authority is. You go back and read the articles. He sued 5 or 6 different entities. He got so litigious that he induced everybody in Queensridge, everybody in the surrounding community into a panic, and this is where he started to win. He started to win because the people in Queensridge don't want that there. The people in the surrounding community don't want that there. So they started to do things and the members of the city council started to do things that are, well, pretty much illegal. Like he inspired them, he induced them to do stuff that came out in court, like texts that, well, we're never going to allow development here, or just like all kinds of shady shit, because he put them in a panic. But the joke of the whole thing is that it never had the right to be developed in the first place. So he induced insanity, and he made everybody in the area, and he made the courts believe that the city and the city of Las Vegas, he made the courts believe that he was the victim. He induced everybody to come against him with so much fervor that he then began to look like the victim. I mean, if this was premeditated, hold on a second, I got to get a little coffee. If this was premeditated, it's one of the sickest psychological things I've ever seen done in my entire life. Because remember, in fact, in an early court case, the judge says to Johan Lowy, the judge, when he has no power and he hasn't induced the community, he doesn't look like the victim, the judge says to him, you bought a pig in a poke. You bought something that has nobody knows what the value is. Nobody knows if it can ever even be developed. Like, why are you suing? You bought a pig in a poke. The judge says that to him. Because in the beginning of the case, 2015, 2016, 2017, it was just assumed that it could never be developed. So everybody in the beginning was like, yeah, this guy's crazy. That's going to be open space. That's a ravine. He paid nothing for it. He did. Paid $30,000 an acre for it. He must have no expectations of it ever being anything. But he induced insanity, and therefore, as everybody turned against him, the judges saw that his rights were being violated. Were they really being violated? They were being violated because he induced it. If the town had just left it alone and not come against him, if the people around the area just said, look, it has no entitlements, you're going to have to, and this is where I'm a little shaky because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what the process would have been. But if they had not made it obvious that they were going to stop him at any cost, then he wouldn't be the victim, and he wouldn't be getting, they say $200 million, $300 million. When I found out he only paid $7.5 million for it, I was like, what the hell's going on here? Then I read article after article, and you can watch the progression. The progression in the beginning is, this guy's crazy. He ain't never going to get nothing. They're never going to let him develop that ravine, and it's already has to be open space, and the land has no entitlements for anything. And as it went along, he just became more and more powerful because he convinced each court that his rights were being taken away. When meanwhile, at the very beginning, it had no rights because the Piccoli family wouldn't have sold it for $30,000 an acre in the beginning if it had any entitlements. Insanity. You have to go back and read it. If you have any interest in this sort of, Las Vegas insanity, legal, government, private, develop. If you have any interest in this, you have to follow that. I think the video that I did here is largely accurate. Sometimes I make minor mistakes, and so I'm certainly open to any mistakes or being corrected. But it's the psychological part of it that just absolutely thrills me. Vegaspaulyceeeeeee.